Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and tonight's episode is another breakdown episode. This one is, well, I should say, this one is kind of highly requested by only one person and one person only, and that is my co-host slash producer, Marissa. Um, this one was kind of a not a head scratcher one, but this one was kind of a long time coming. We were talking about Simple Plan, but this one is from 2022. Yes, like during pandemic. This is harder than it looks. Okay, so when I first listened to this album, going into it, I did not really think about it as an album. I thought it would have been like an LP or something, maybe like 5 songs or something. But it is a full length album. It is only like 34 minutes, so it's kind of like a half an hour album, which is crazy. But they do go back to some of their pop punk roots in this album, I should say. Um, and I think it's always a good thing to go back to what brought you to the dance the first time. But this is also the last album that had any contributions to their bassist David, because a few years ago, he was just a big no, and they had kicked him out, and rightfully so. Um, but the bassist this time was actually Pierre. On the in the recording and all stuff, not on live or anything, or on any of the videos or anything. Uh, but with that being said, it did not deter away from the actual album itself or anything. Um, so let's dive on into this, shall we? So, if you do not know what the breakdown is, we take all the songs and we rank it from 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, and we take all the songs, tally up all the scores, divided by however many songs that we have, and that is our final score. Okay, so with that out of the way, grab your popcorn, grab your cheeses, grab your ices or whatever. Hopefully I won't take too much time on any of the songs and everything. But let's just dive right out into it. So the first song that is on the docket here, it is "Wake Me Up When This Nightmare's Over." Um, I think this one's just about to, or it was about talking about more so the war that was going on during the Ukraine, and all that stuff. People just dying and having to try to find like medical supplies and all that stuff, and not having the proper resources to deal with that. And it was a nightmare over there. Par none. But I will say that this song is actually it is a good song. It is actually a really good song to like dive into the mood for the records about the pace and all that stuff. And I mean, I automatically gave it a 10 out of 10. Every time I hear this song, it does make me tear up a little bit, because it's like, not a lot of countries have the luxury that we have. And, going forward, you know, not a lot of people, excuse me, not a lot of people, have the luxury that we do. So yeah, I mean, I gave it a 10 out of 10 off the bat. Um, like I said, set the pace for the record to go forward. So then we go into song number two, which is "Ruin My Life" featuring Derek YB. Wobble, Derek from Sum 41. I'm trying not to butcher his last name because, like, they might go after me in the comments. You never know. From Sum 41, which I thought that was actually a kind of a cool a feature for him, because I know during this time they were just about to maybe wrap up for Sum 41, because I know they were. I think I could be wrong. Just either about to finish up Sum 41, or like they were on like their last album for Sum 41. I could be wrong about that, but I think that was actually a cool feature for Derek, because like it added to me, it added like a little bit of a coolness factor to it, because I think they both had started their music careers around the exact same time, and plus they're both Canadian. I mean, like, that's awesome in itself. But I think they both started around like '99 ish, and then going into like 2000s and all that stuff. Like they were kind of like pop punk rock features and all that stuff. But I don't think we had ever got got a feature between both of them before, which I think is also kind of cool. I mean, I give this song a 10 out of 10 automatically too. And the music video is freaking killer too. So, we go into song number three. We have The Antidote. Um, I would say that this is more of a love punk sort of song, because it feels more like like you're the antidote to me, and vice versa, and all that stuff too. Um, so I know like the video itself, it kind of just makes it feel like it is that way. Which I mean, kudos to some Simple Plan for doing that. Um, I don't know, like at first it didn't grow on me, and then after hearing it a few more times, like it kind of just grew on me, like, which is a good thing. Um, but I will say, I will say that it's like sometimes some of the songs kind of take a little bit to kind of get into a second gear, which is, I mean, like, that's whatever, whatever. Um, and I think, to Simple Plan's credit, you know, it is kind of like what a lot of people were kind of going through at that time during pandemic and COVID era. Trying to find that solace, that place, that person in the world that is kind of just like, a way out sort of thing. Um, but that's just for a lot of people. I mean, that's how I met Marissa. Like, we chatted during the pandemic and all that stuff, and still friends to this day. I gave this song a 10 out of 10 as well. So if you're keeping track at home, that is 30. That is a 30. Um, but yeah, let's go on to the next song here. Number four, Million Pictures of You. Okay, so I wasn't really crazy about this song when I first heard it. I'm still kind of still not crazy about it now, hearing it in 2026, 4 years later. Um, but I mean, it's like it's one of those rare occasions where it's like you didn't really need to have that kind of song on here. Which I mean, that's truth be told, that is one of the things that we usually talk about on here. Like, if certain songs are kind of like misplaced in 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 albums and all stuff, like kind of like take it or leave it sort of ideology here. Um, I think this song could have like just been off the album and it would have been okay. I think it just brought it down a little bit for me. It like how should I put this lightly? It brought down the energy for me a little bit because it just didn't feel, it didn't match the energy of the last three songs. Um, but like this song and the next one that I'm going to be talking about in a little bit, it just didn't bring it. It just didn't bring that energy that I like for me. Um, I mean, it's still a pretty good song. Not gonna lie about that, but I don't think it just fit the vibe that it was going for with this album. I mean, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not the worst song in the world, but it still kind of could have just maybe been like a bonus track or something like that. It could have been fine. So going into song number 5, we have anxiety. Again, like I talked about, or yeah, what I talked about with Million Pictures of You. This song kind of brought it down for me a little bit. Not to say that's a bad thing about that, but you know, it kind of just. It's like I'm trying to put this politely because it's like I don't want to trash on any of the songs on here, but it's like these two songs back to back didn't really need to be on the album. It could have been like bonus tracks or something, or maybe like a single that just didn't go anywhere or something like that. Um, but this one had a reggae sort of feel to it. It kind of reminded me of the oh god, what was that song? It kind of reminded me of the song I think it was like Sean Paul or something. I know Marissa would probably know about it. Um, but that's what it kind of reminded me of, and I was just like, okay, like it's like it kind of makes you, want to move and groove a little bit, whatever. Um, but yeah, again, like it just didn't really match the energy that it had with the previous first three songs. So I gave it an 8. It's kind of just, it's not the worst song in the world, like I said, but I don't think it just felt warranted on this album. Um, but then the five, next five, they kind of felt warranted. I should say that. So on to song number 6, we have "Congratulations," and no, it's not the Post Malone song "Congratulations." I mean, shit, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be actually a cool collab if they did that. Um, this one actually picked it up for me a little bit, and I'm actually glad that I had said something about that. Um, so with congratulations, I'm so sorry. With congratulations, it brought back up the hype that I had with the first three songs that I was talking about, and in in a way, it just reminded me of like early Simple Plan, like just growing their wings and just flying. Um, which I mean, I'm actually kind of glad it did that. You know, so I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. Um, and I actually think this is a kind of a silent sleeper hit one. I know it said on the Wikipedia page is like, yeah, one of the singles was "Congratulations." So hey, that's pretty damn good. Um, so despite that, going into song number 7, which is also another single from this album called "Iconic." Now I do remember listening to this single actually, and uh, actually really liking it. Um, and it kind of reminded me. I don't know why, but it kind of reminded me of Boom from taking one for the team, and I think it just had that sort of like similar energy, I guess, if you want to call it that. But I will say it was a good second half song, if you want to call it that. Because like the first half, like when you had million pictures of you and anxiety, it kind of just like brought it down, and then when the second half hits, it's like okay, like just waking it back up. Um, and I gave Iconic a 9 out of 10. Why'd you know that? So on to song number 8. We have Best Day of My Life. You know, it is not the American author's Best Day of My Life, which, again, that'd be actually kind of cool collab. But I don't think American authors makes music anymore. Um, so this one actually was a good song to have in the second half, like I was talking about with congratulations and iconic and excuse me, and I think it's a good thing that they had did that. Like I was talking about like earlier, you know, going back into their pop punk roots and all that stuff, kind of just being like, you know, like we're gonna go back to what brought us to the dance, you know. And I think this kind of, in a way, kind of reminds me of their debut album with "The Worst Day Ever," and I think it's like kind of a good polarizing, like not polarizing. What am I talking about? A good contrast to where they first started and where they're at now. Um, and you know, like with the worst day ever, best day of my life, you know, it kind of like feels like a good like closing chapter on that, I guess. I mean, it's still a pretty good song too. Like when I first heard it, I was like, oh, like okay. Um, so I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 here. Okay, so going on to song number 9, we're going into slow motion. So again, this one kind of is bringing it back down a little bit again, but not by much, not by much. Um, I, I think here's the thing. Like I think when I had listened to this song the first time, again, like I didn't really mind it. I didn't really mind it that much, but I think maybe if I had maybe like listened to it maybe a few more times, maybe I would like it a little bit more. But I don't think it's just fitting of Simple Plan's album here. I mean, it's still a good track, not gonna lie, but I think it's just one of those things where it's just like, take it or leave it, whatever. But I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Again, it's like I'm kind of bringing it down a little bit, but then we go into song number 10. We have 2TWO. Um, when I had heard this one, it's had a slow start at the beginning, but then it picked up like right after that. And it kind of reminded me of um, the song "Perfect" from um from their debut album, and man, it's just like going back to the debut album days. It just felt so so good to like kind of like reminisce about that. Um, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I think a lot of people will probably say, "Wow, like that's high on a for an ending song." But here's the thing: if you kind of like, say for example, if you blow like your metaphorical like music aura in the first three songs, it's like, well, then you gotta kind of like pick it up at the back end with something else. So then what you go to another song that you could think is maybe a single or whatever. But I think this one's also a silent sleeper single hit too. Because when you think about some of the other songs, you can call back to maybe like what am I trying to say? You can probably call back to like when they first debuted, and kind of like talking about like parents, and and pop punk stuff, and like whatever. And it's like a lot of people can resonate with that because back in that time, like it was teenage angst, and and all that other stuff. With this, kind of just talked about like talking about like mom and dad splitting up, having to go between homes, and having to like not try to decide like who you want to be with more, dad or mom. That's another like teenage angst thing where it's like a lot of people have split up homes because not a lot of people's parents stay together for long. Like like with Blink-182 song "To Stay Together for the Kids," it's kind of like that ideology there. Um, so enough about me rambling here. So I have tallied up all the scores, and I got a 93. Originally it was a 92.5, but I just rounded it up and just gave it a 93. On the whole, two of the songs I didn't really think should have been on the record. But with that being said, I still think it's a solid album. Um, comparing to like when uh almost said Sum 41. When Simple Plan, made this record, this was 6 years after taking one for the team. And, they had trials and tribulations with, a lot of things, losing David as the bassist and all that stuff. It's like going forward as a four piece and all that stuff. And just kind of like trying to find their sound again, because if you can recall, with Taking One for the Team, I didn't really like that album. Um, with this one, it's more going back to their pop punk roots, what brought them to the dance and all that stuff. Excuse me. And I think it's also a good sign. It was a good sign of things to come. I know 2 years ago they put out a 20th anniversary for their debut album, which or no for what was it? Oh, still not getting any. I think that's what it is. Um, which I mean, truth be told, I think that's pretty good. Um, so with that being said, I want to thank you guys for listening to this episode and or watching this on YouTube. We do really appreciate it. If you want to follow us on all social media links in the description below, which will take you to our Linktree page, which will take you to our Instagram pages, Twitter pages, the podcast, Reddit pages on there, my gaming YouTube channel is on there, and tonight's song of the night, it is going to be Ruin My Life with Derek from Sum 41. And there is a music video for it. I do know that. And yeah, that's it. And next Thursday will be the final episode for the month of July. And I think you guys will not want to miss this one, because this one is a career that defines an era which I grew up watching. But you'll have to find out on the next episode. We do have a career dives episode, but it is going to be something that you will probably not want to miss for the world. And I'll leave it at that. But stay safe, everyone. Peace, love. Bye. See ya.